Welcome to the Four Brewers Podcast. My name is John Holzer, and as always, I'm joined by
Jason Harris
and Tim Mather.
This week on the show, we are continuing our series on alphabet beers. Today, we are drinking beers that are brought to you by the letters G, H, and I.
No, people on the internet, this is not the We're Out of Ideas series, so knock it off.
Definitely not that. I had trouble finding I beers, which we'll get into later.
I did not.
I spent a good 20 minutes scouring the shelves of jars for an I beer from an I brewery, and I could not find one except for the one that I did find, which may or may not be an I beer.
As we're getting into the more difficult sections of the alphabet, I think it counts if the beer name, if you can't find the brewery, the beer name also counts.
Jason?
I think that's a cop-out for sure.
I'm with you on that. I could not even find a beer name that started with I. I tried. I could not find anything.
John, this is the problem with you people and you're like actually going into stores. We don't go to stores anymore. It's just we don't go out of our houses. We stay inside. Exactly. I thought we had a show planned and then you switch it up on me at the last minute. So I just go online, Stanley's Wet Goods, go to the filter by brand, find all three letters.
All right, hold on a second. Letters. What's the name of this fucking place?
Stanley's Wet Goods. Yep, it's on.
All right,
Venice.
moving on.
Anyway,
moving on.
I just love it because I was panicked. I was like, oh crap, I've got to get it tonight. I've only got a little bit of time, and easy peasy, got them all.
You went on the internet. You're like, I need those wet goods. I need that wet goods.
It wasn't quite that dramatic, but you know.
Before we get into the show, just want to give a quick shout out to listener Eric Vasquez. He gave us a donation on PayPal that he does. I think it's quarterly or every 6 months or so. So we thank Eric for that. And this isn't really appropriate for people who listen to the podcast after this, although the campaign is still ongoing. But today at Beechwood Brewing in Long Beach, they're doing a fundraiser thing for Brandon Peterson. He's also known as Dino in the beer scene. He was in a gnarly bike accident, I want to say a month and a half ago. He has a GoFundMe set up, which you can find listed in the show notes for the show or on our Instagram page as well. There's a link for that there as well. They're trying to raise 40 grand for him. They're up to about 30 grand. If you don't know Dino, he's just a super nice guy. I don't know anyone that has anything bad to say about him. He's just always got a smile on his face, super upbeat, enthusiastic beer geek, and he needs our help. So if you want an excuse to go by Beechwood today, that's your excuse. Go there and help out Dino.
There's no cause to it, but I would like to take a moment and kind of RIP for Nate Sirocco, Tornado Islander, kind of a beer legend in the San Diego beer community. He passed away this week. It's a damn shame. I didn't know him well, but I feel like anybody who ever went anywhere he was remembers him. He's just such a positive force everywhere he ever was, and it's a huge loss to the scene. So real shame to lose him.
Definitely, he's well known in the San Diego beer scene. I think I met him when he was working at Tornado San Diego, but he also he worked at Modern Times. Modern Times even made a shirt for him when they first opened. It's a really cool looking shirt, has his name on it and him chugging a bottle of beer. But yeah, super nice guy. I remember the first time he recognized me, and we had never met, and he just saw me, and he's kind of an intimidating guy. He's a bigger dude, always has kind of a stoic look on his face, and he kind of he was like a bouncer kind of at Tornado as well. So that gives you an idea of, what he looks like and how he kind of presents himself. But when I walked in somewhere, he's like, "Oh, what's up, John?" And I was like, "Oh, you know my name? That's fucking weird." Because I always looked at him like this figure that was intimidating to me because everybody knew who he was. And he was the popular guy in the room. And then when he was like, "Oh, you're John from New Brew Thursday," I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." So yeah, really good guy.
Huge loss. Yeah, he'll be super, super missed in this whole community. So I want to take a moment, give him a shout out.
Yep. So getting into the beers, like I said, we're doing beers from breweries that start with G, H, and I today. And this is getting
ABCs of 4B.
There you go. This is getting more and more challenging as we get into letters that a lot of breweries don't use, like I, for example. Jason and Tim both have beers from the same brewery, Indie Brewing Company, and Gerard's usually has a lot of the LA beers there. They did not have any indie beers there. The only other brewery I can think of was Innis and Gunn, which is a brewery from the UK, which they make pretty decent beer. They actually sponsored a New Beer Thursday episode once that we did at a Total Wine. Did not have Innis and Gunn. I'm like, how do you not have Innis and Gunn? Like, this is ridiculous. So I'll get into later what I did get, because I did get an I beer. But right now we're going to start with the letter G. And I'm going to start with my beer. I saw this beer the last time I was at Gerard's. This is Genesee Ice, or Genesee Ice, Brother of Dragons, iced version.
It'd be the white one that fucking the White Walkers have, dude.
Yeah, exactly. It's the White Walker.
The Brother of Dragons ice version.
So I think, like most ice-themed beers, the only difference between this and regular Genesee is that it's slightly higher in alcohol. This is 5.5% alcohol by volume, where I think Genesee Cream Ale is, I don't know, less than that, 4 something. So I thought it was fun. It's like more of a novelty buy for me. I've got another G beer as well, but this will be kind of like my palate cleanser beer between beers, although the beers I do have aren't really all that, I don't know, bombastic. So yeah, that's my palate beer. Jason, what's your G beer?
So I rolled the dice a little bit. It's a known good brewery. I've got a beer that has been on the show. Gunwale Ales Baked Ball.
I saw them on the shelf as well at Gerard's. Yes.
No date, and I got it at Total Wine.
Good luck.
Oh, that's a big risk right there.
I also like to live dangerously.
Was it on the shelf or was it in a cooler?
There's nothing in the cooler. Yeah, it was on the shelf.
Yeah. Okay.
The cooler's full of like Coors Light.
Of course, as it should be.
Yeah. Tim, what'd you pick up, man?
I was able to pick up a LP Stout from my exposure is awful from Gigantic Brewing.
Okay.
Which is pretty rad. I've never had this before. I've heard of Gigantic. I've had, I think, a couple of their IPAs, but this is a stout. The cover looks like looks like a record, obviously, like the label.
Yeah.
They got a little track listing. It's "We will beer you. Wish you were beer. Here comes the beer. Don't beer the Reaper and Highway to Beer." Sounds like a good album right there.
You remember The Simpsons where he has I think it's like Lionel Richie singing for him, and he's like, "Yeah, just sing the song about beer." It's like, "Beer you, beer me." He's like, "Now just do it again, but do all the words beer." It's just like beer, 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 beer.
Nice. I don't remember that one.
Well, some people are way more into The Simpsons than others.
That's pretty baller, Tim, drinking a stout when it's 110 degrees outside. That's whew.
So, this is 5.7%. It's not too heavy.
Yeah,
it should be pretty straightforward. I admittedly, as I said earlier in the show, I just kind of I found out the theme literally last night, and I don't really have time to go shopping on Saturdays, so I had to pick it up last night. So I just I literally was like, okay, I know this place is 5 minutes from my apartment. What do you got for G's? And first thing I saw was this, and I'm like, okay, good,
totally works.
You're like, not Golden Road, not Golden Road, not Golden Road.
I didn't even know the style, honestly. I just put it in my cart and I checked out. And when I was done checking out, I was like, oh, that's a stout.
Oh, that's fun.
It was completely random. So like, I haven't had, there's only one of the 4 that I have that I've actually had before. So.
Oh, okay. So I also have a G beer besides the Genesee. I have this beer from Grimm. This is called Cross Stitch, and this is a Vienna style lager.
That's cool looking.
Yeah, it's a cool looking label. It looks like it's cross stitched. So, have I had beer from Grimm before? Maybe. I think I have, but I don't buy it too often. Grimm is out of Brooklyn, New York. So
I guarantee you have.
That, like, they always sit in that weird, like next to where the old Mikkeller imports used to be. I feel like they're with whatever same distribution company does the old imported Mikkeller stuff. But
maybe.
But every so often I've had some pretty solid stuff from Grimm.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything bad about them. I wasn't, you see stuff from oh god, the other part of Mikkeller, his brother's brewery. Damn it, why can't I think of their name right now?
Evil Twin.
Evil Twin, yeah. Like I see Evil Twin beers on the shelf, and I just never want to buy them. Like because they're such a huge gamble. But whether or not they're going to be good or not. But Grimm, I think, is a brewery that's pretty well known for being.
Like Evil Twin's going to be like we threw a ham sandwich in a stout.
Yep. Well, in the circle of beer folks that I am, like my neighborhood, I would say that they're probably a little less beer nerdy than you guys. Grimm usually gets like a little bit of excitement when it showed up at like our local sort of bottle shop. So it usually gets a good nod. Like you said, I haven't heard anything bad, and I've had a couple. I just don't remember. It wasn't something that stood out.
Yeah, like I said, this is a Vienna style lager. Definitely on the darker side. Got a lot of orange hue in there. It almost looks like an old school northwest IPA. Like it's just full of. I mean, what I'm assuming is like Vienna malt or something, biscuity like that. But it is yellow. That's far darker than I thought it would be. But it looks nice. It's pretty.
This beer is old. You could tell it used to taste good.
Did you go? You went with that gun whale because you said you had 2 G's, right?
Yep, I got the gun whale.
Okay.
No, actually, I think I have 2 H's.
Oh, okay. I do. I have 2 H's as well.
If you had 3, you'd have a triple H.
There we go. I can't remember his catchphrase. I only know The Rock.
Well, does Triple H have a thing? I don't know. I got to ask my WrestleMan friend.
Didn't he just like walk around with like his nose up in the air kind of thing? Wasn't that his stick? Or was that when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley and because wasn't that a different character that then evolved into Triple H kind of thing?
Yeah, I think the whole thing was like he married the boss's daughter, and that was the whole thing. He's like part of the like bosses or whatever.
Okay.
The McMahon family or whatever.
There's people that actually follow wrestling who are like, you fucking idiots. Here's what happened. I only through osmosis absorb wrestling when my friend shows me videos of it. I've never sat down. I haven't sat down and watched a wrestling event since I was a kid, except for I went to those live ones. Those are really fun. I went to PWG. That was dope.
My brother was really big into wrestling. So I watched WWF with him once in a while back when in the 90s when we were kids. So I definitely picked some of it up and wasn't my favorite thing, but I remember a lot of the classic, we're talking Undertaker and Hulk Hogan and, that sort of era.
Undertaker just barely retired.
Yeah, no, I was like, dude, you're looking a little ratty today.
What's funny is he kind of did an interview tour to be like, hey, I'm retiring from wrestling. I'm going around. And he's just a regular ass, Texas kind of country dude. It's like, yeah, man, we were doing some weird shit out there. And you're like, that's funny. It doesn't match his grave guy persona or whatever. But he had that whole thing for a little while where he turned into a fucking biker guy and he came out to Kid Rock and shit.
Yikes.
Lame.
Wrestling's fucking wild, man.
It's all over the place.
Going back to this Grimm beer, this is fantastic. Super bready. Definitely a malt forward beer. I wouldn't call it malty necessarily, but big biscuit notes, a little bit of honey you can feel coming out of there on the flavor. It's pillowy, little sweetness. Doesn't finish super duper dry, but dry enough to be kind of thirst quenching. This would be a fantastic pizza beer, or a beer with Belgian frites or something like that. Just something that's I don't know, fatty and savory, and
Yum.
this can just wash it down. I want pizza.
Belgian frites sounds like an exotic disease that you got. It's how was your trip to Europe? And it's I got the frites. I got the Belgian frites.
Dude, some frites and some aioli and a big old stein of Vienna lager. Sounds real good.
It does. I'm gonna start a hipster gastropub called Frites and Aioli. Frites, ampersand, aioli.
I like it.
That sounds like a good name, actually. I'm down with it.
There we go.
So this stout is pretty much what I kind of anticipated. This is perfectly fine for hot weather. It's middle of the road. It's not jumping out at me.
It sounds like it's going to be like a dry stout, basically, like a really kind of basic, not over roasted, not too sweet, but easy, clean drinking dry stout.
That is 100% where it's at. You get a little bit of the toasty. It's got a bit of like the coffee sort of roasted bitterness. They do mention like espresso in the descriptions. And yeah, it finishes pretty dry, and you think dark beer and you're like, oh my God, this is gonna be heavy and over the top. And I think people don't realize like stouts for the most part, unless you get something that's like crazy heavy, are fairly easy drinking and easy going beers.
Well, it's like Guinness, right? That's
Yeah.
what everyone thinks of as being a heavy beer, and like, oh, I could crush Guinness like all day. It's
I don't
so
think
good.
our listeners think of it that way, but like the public at large does.
Sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to speak more to my level of demographic than your level of demographic, Jason.
Tim, you are our demographic. You're literally on the show.
I'm just messing. As it's been made, I'm not on the same beer plane as you guys.
You kind of are, though. You just don't want to admit it or own it. Like, you should just,
You got to believe in yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, thanks. I'll work on that. I do really quick want to point out that I remember reading about this a while back, about how Oregon was going to start like a statewide sort of returning of glass bottles sort of project. And on the side here, they've got a little label that's it's like refillable, Oregon only, returnable in Oregon only. So you can like drop the bottle off at the brewery or at a retailer that's participating, and they'll take it and they'll refill it.
That's dope. I mean, why don't more like that should just be the thing?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, Oregon in general does like you can pretty much return your recyclables like wherever. Like I went to a Plaid Pantry, which is like Oregon 7-Eleven. Like they're fucking everywhere up there. Like I saw 10 Plaid Pantries for every 7-Eleven up there.
And what's that store you got your beers from, Tim?
Stanley's Wet Goods.
And then the name of that place, Jason, is what? Like, where are you people?
Well, I was shopping for it in Oregon. But the thing is, here, when you recycle, you're recycling, you have to like find a recycling center, and they're usually kind of dirty and sketchy, and it's weird. Where like they literally, I would just see dudes bringing a bag to like the convenience store, and they would be like, okay, and they give them like $5 or whatever, the 10 cents per can they returned or whatever. So dudes would just roll in with like a bag and be like, oh, I'm going to buy this with this.
Recycling, bottles and beverage containers in general needs to be more of a mainstream thing in Southern California or in California in general, because it's sad to say, but when you think of a recycling center, you think of, like people that, hunt through trash to get cans and stuff. And they're, it's not that, I want to be delicate about this, but it's kind of like, well, that's where the poor people get money from. That's how they come off in a lot of places. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be like, no, this is part of what we do with our unused bottles, our cans. Like they're actually being recycled, and we're not doing it just to get money.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a pretty small beach town, and they had a recycling center for a long time. I think it eventually ended up shutting down before I left for college. But I remember very clearly, like stomping cans and taking glass bottles down to this place where you drive in and drop it off. And like my dad had a deal where like if I smashed all the cans, I got to keep the recycling money. And it was it was a pretty legit place. It didn't feel like any sort of sketchy thing. And they have like the mounds of broken glass bottles and stuff. And when you get into a bigger city that has more socioeconomic problems, then you kind of start that like
you get like the little pop-up recycling centers that are that's what I'm thinking of when I think of like what Jason like says is kind of sketchy kind of thing. For work, like we recycle copper wire. Like I used to do that all the time before you needed to show 2 forms of identification and a business card, which you literally have to do to recycle copper wire and pipe, because they assume that it's stolen, but going into a big recycling center, like that's a whole different thing. Like
if only they had those rules for catalytic converters, because those are being stolen like fucking mad.
No joke.
Yeah, my Yvonne's dad, his catalytic converter from his Honda something was stolen a month ago. So they had to weld a new one on. They welded like a aircraft cable around it so you couldn't steal it again. It's like, this is what we got to do. We got to put a cable around it so it doesn't get. It's ridiculous.
Even then, the dudes stealing it have a fucking sawzall. I bet you they can cut the cable.
I think
it's more of a deterrent.
I think the bottom line is that more attention needs to be paid and participation applied into recycling in general. Whether it is because you're going to get some sort of cash or whether it's just for the fact of returning a glass bottle. Because you're going to return the glass bottle. I mean, you got it.
When you get into plastic, recycling in general is a big thing. There's documentaries about it. Look them up. Recycling is kind of broken.
I think we're talking more about glass and aluminum at this point because you're right, Jason. The different forms of plastic, they're basically all going into a landfill. Like plastic isn't being recycled.
Recycling companies pay China to throw them away.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, coming off it, I think it's a. Sorry, if this gets too like philosophical or what, not but too. I think coming off of the past year where we literally had to go with disposable everything and paper masks and plastic forks and spoons and to-go containers, like I think once we get past this and we're at a point where that isn't going to be the norm as much anymore, I think that there's just got to be a change because we've already this past year has done more damage probably than a long time before.
5 or 6 years worth of takeout products. Yeah, because that's all it was takeout. And so everything was in its own container. Like even cocktails, you get a cocktail where each ingredient is in its own little plastic thing and then you mix it when you get home or something,
Yeah.
So I hope, I mean, I have my own plans for how I'm going to make, how I'm going to change that. But I just hope that, it kind of is something that maybe gets more attention going forward.
I do like the idea, though, of taking your bottles back to a brewery or somewhere and then literally being reused. Not, okay, we're going to melt them down and recycle them and blah, blah, blah. No, they're already a bottle. Just clean it and reuse it. Like, put a cap on it, you're good to go. I'm fine with that. As long as they're clean. It just makes sense.
Watch you drop it off and you just watch them, refill it and put a new cap on.
Yeah. So, moving on. To
put it in H. Put it in H.
I'm going to start with my beer. I have a beer from a brewery that's well loved on the Four Brewers podcast. This is from Heater Allen. This is their Schwarz beer. And coincidentally, everything I picked up is kind of light today. I have no IPA. It's all just lager, basically.
Never underestimate the power of the Schwartz.
Yes.
Let's see this. I think we've had this on the show. I should have looked it up, but it's their Bohemian Black Lager. And this clocks in at a whopping 4.9% alcohol by volume, which is perfect for today.
What'd you get, Tim?
In my complete random, I don't know what I'm getting. Just if it starts with H, it's going in my cart. Got something that I never heard of before. I got something from Humble Forager Brewery, which I have never heard of before. It's called Cloud Hopping, and I believe it's listed as version 3. It's an oat cream ale. Or oat cream IPA, I'm sorry.
I'm a little oat cream, and it just seems milky to me. I'm like,
it says abundance of oats and spelt with a dash of lactose sugar. And then they say they dry hop it with 4.5 pounds per barrel of Galaxy, Mosaic, Cryo, Cashmere, and John's all-time favorite hop, Idaho 7.
Yeah. Where are these people out of? Let's see.
It's,
Humble Forager, Waunakee, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I guess. Huh. Okay.
Yeah. So I had no idea. I just kind of was like, hey, let's go for it. And I'm all for trying new things. And it's a pretty nifty little. Again, my exposure. I won't even bother my exposure.
Yeah, it looks like white label.
It's like a really cool watercolor painting. Looking out an airplane window with the stereotypical I'm going on a trip, so I'm going to take a picture of the plane wing with the background. It's like that, but with a really nice watercolor painting.
Yeah, this has a 3.8 on Untapped. So I think what they're trying to come off, this is going to be kind of like one of those candy hazy IPA kind of things, especially with the addition of the lactose sugar. I guess they're adding that for body, but when it comes to IPA, hazy IPA lately, if it has lactose in it, I generally am not going to buy it.
Those aren't for me. There's an audience for them. Enjoy. More for you guys. I'll drink something else.
Yeah.
But I've got a brewery I don't think we've done on the show. I bought this for the last Alphabet show because I don't know my ABCs.
It's been a struggle, hasn't it? Especially out of
So-
order, because we're not like doing like when you break them to threes, like I'm like, wait, what comes after?
Yeah,
So
so
this
like
is-
we should do A, B, C, D, E, F, G as a show.
And then we're doing an LMNOP show. So I've got Highwire Brewing Pink Lemonade Session Sour Ale,
Ooh,
tart session ale brewed with raspberries, lemon peel, and lemongrass.
Highwire is solid.
And Highwire's out of Asheville, North Carolina. They've got a circus theme going on. This beer it looks a lot like pink lemonade. Oh shit! Hold on, let's drink this side by side with the king.
The king.
Oh,
Oh, this has
so-
to be Natter Days, right?
Nice.
There we go.
All right. So while Jason's pouring, Josh Ruffin in the chat mentioned that this Humble Forager is actually brewed by Octopi / Untitled Arts outside of Madison because of distribution issues. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Josh Ruffin, by the way, he sent us beers that we're actually featuring next week on the show, which I can't remember the name of his brewery off the top of my head. Working Draft. That's the name of their brewery. He sent each of us beers, but unfortunately, Greg is having a mild gout thing, and he's going on a trip.
Or some might
this
say
week.
health issues.
Well, it's well known Greg has a gout thing. So he was like, at first he was like, I'll just refund Josh the money for the beers, but we're going to postpone the show until next week. So, that's next week.
All right, Natter
Do it.
Days versus Highwire.
All right, which
All
is
right.
which? Highwire's
Right off the bat, the Natter Days just looks like a light beer.
Okay.
Highwire is pink. So
Why did I think? I guess I just assumed Natter Days was pink because it's
Yeah.
I thought so too. I guess
it's
not.
just yellow beer.
And I've drank a lot of them weirdly, so I just apparently just don't pay attention. So the Highwire smells a lot like raspberry. Natter Days smells like strawberry candy, not like a strawberry fresh, but like red strawberry candy. In fact, you know those little candies that
look
look like a strawberry, like
Yeah.
they have the green little top on the wrapper. That is 100% what Natter Days smells like.
I love those
So-
things.
So on the Highwire beer, it's good. Not a lot of lemon in it. It's like a hint of lemon. Again, the dominant flavor is raspberry. It's lightly tart. Really, it's a refreshing beer. But I will say, when I get something that says lemonade, I want more like lemony, like sour on it. You know.
Yeah.
And Natter Days. Let's try this.
Yeah, lemon. I mean, when you think lemon, you think tart because lemons are tart. You got to have some kind of a tart aspect to it. I think I agree.
Yeah. And there's a little bit more lemony character in the Natter Days, but again, it's like country time, right? Like
yeah,
Natter Days is like not trying to hide that they're throwing you artificial flavorings.
right.
And I think Highwire, this beer's not super old, so I don't think it's faded. It's from March, end of March, so April, like March 31st. Yeah, just very much like I like the beer, but advertising it as pink lemonade is kind of like, this is a raspberry, like a tart raspberry Berliner.
Mhm.
And so, like, if my expectation wasn't lemonade, then I'd be like, oh, this is good. But when I'm expecting lemonade, I'm like, this is just kind of raspberry.
Overall, though, how is it? Because
It's
you're
good.
being very critical about the pink lemonade vibe, but
It's
overall,
good. There's a ton of berry on the nose. Like, it's just very, very jammy. There's a ton of fruit. I imagine they put a crap ton of raspberries in here.
right. Going back to my beer from Heater Allen, we did have this beer on the show back in March of 2018, episode 193, when Heater Allen was just in bottles, and now they're in cans, which I think their labels work so much better in cans. Like they look sweet in cans, especially this one. The Schwarz beer back in the day was just a white label with the black font, and now it's a black label with like gray font. It looks so much cooler.
Almost
But,
everything is better in cans, dude. I got a red poppy in cans. It looks like one of those like Catholic saint candles. It's awesome.
Yeah, I agree. But this beer, I mean, it's kind of reminiscent of the beer opened from Gigantic. It comes off very much like a stout or a porter, even though it's a Schwarz beer. So it's technically, it's a lager. It's just super roasty on the nose. It smells creamy and chocolatey and like decadent on the nose. But I haven't tasted it yet, but I guarantee it's not going to taste that way. It's going to be a little roasty, finished super dry. It's my kind of beer. Like this is a summer beer that it's like a stout, but it's not. You get those vibes, but it still finishes nice and clean.
Yeah, like it roasted like a roasty lager.
Oh, so good. Yeah, creamy mouthfeel. Nice
Yum.
dry finish. That's a really good beer. This brewery is so underrated, dude. Heater Allen is awesome.
That's cool.
4.9%. Oh, dude, I'm gonna sit in a kiddie pool in my backyard and drink this beer.
Good call. Is there room for two?
There is room for two.
There's room for 2 kiddie pools. So like the next episode, we all get our own kiddie pool and we're just sitting there with a microphone.
Let's do it. I'm down.
Just in John's backyard. I'll bring the easy up so we get some shade and then
some extra sunscreen.
Welcome to 4 Brewers in the backyard. We're drinking margs in John's yard.
I thought about buying a large inflatable pool because they're not that expensive. You can get like a 6-person inflatable pool for a couple $100 and throw a tarp down and make sure the ground's smooth and you got a pool. But haven't done it yet. So
you had all the room too.
Dude, I could actually put a pool in my backyard, but I don't want to pay $80,000 for a pool. So
yeah, plus the upkeep.
Did I ever tell you I was watching one of those like pool reality shows? I was at work and it's just like, oh yeah, like HGTV, we're gonna make these pools, and they make these like natural landscape pools that have like beach sides and shit. And somehow I was like, how do you get on this show? Like, I want to get a pool, and I found their like application form, and they're like, requirements: you must have an existing pool project with a budget of at least $200,000. So I was
whoa.
like, okay, miss me with that.
Damn.
Yikes.
That's like all the equity in my house. No way.
Really quick before we move too far past, this cloud hopping's pretty good. It's a New England IPA. It's kind of a golden haze. Can't really see through it. Off the nose, it just spews hops at you. Kind of that schmeary sort of feel. Like you can't really necessarily pick too much out, but it's just got that like citrus hop aroma. As far as flavor goes, it's nice and citrusy. It's very mellow. The bitterness lingers a little bit on the end, and I can definitely kind of pick up that earthiness. I mean, I don't know that they necessarily use more Idaho than not, but I feel like maybe I have a mental connection whenever I see that. I think this, but I definitely get a little bit of like that earthiness off of it. But overall, it's a standard drinker. I don't know that I would rank it higher than it's not a go back, but it's pretty good.
It sounds like it's worthy of a 3.8. It's pretty good, but it's not a 4. It's good to try.
Yeah. I'm not going to knock it, but I'm not going to probably buy it again.
Yes.
Surely because there are just too many beers out there.
Man, I want to finish this Schwartz beer. I don't want to move on. This is good.
And then just John's over here drinking his H, and in the background you just hear quietly, dun dun. I.
Okay. I've got another H and another I. Are we going to double up on the letters or move on to the next?
If Jason has another H as well, right? Or
put it in H.
I mean, because if I can just sit here and vibe with this Heater Allen beer, like you guys can do your H beers again.
We're in H Town. I'd like to give a shout out to H Mart, the Korean grocery store.
I've never been there.
You can get 1.6 liter bottles of Height there for $4. And then my buddy just sent me a shot from H Mart. They had straight up A5 Wagyu short rib pieces there from Snake River Farms. I was like, God damn, man, H Mart rules.
How much was that?
It was like, I think it was like $20 a pound. It was a lot, but
wow.
Yeah. But
I've only seen an H Mart in Irvine. So if that says anything.
Well, I'm gonna move on to something.
oh wait,
different.
I have another G.
Oh, well, whatever. We'll just do our extras while John enjoys his.
Hold on, I think I can do I think I have an H.
You gotta have something. I mean,
let's wait for Jason to come back before Tim starts.
So Highland Park Brewery starts with fucking H.
There you go.
Which we just featured Highland Park on our newest show called Fresh Off the Shelf that me and Jason did last week. So,
and this is not one of the beers we did on that show.
No, those shows are in our public podcast feed, and you can listen to them. We're going to be recording them. Well, I think we're doing 4 shows a month, and they're only like 10 to 15 minutes long each. But 2 of those 4 shows every month will be in the Patreon feed. So if you only get to hear them if you're a patron. And yeah,
nice.
But that's a fun little show. It's nice and quick and simple. And
that's cool.
You can knock out a bunch of beers in a little amount of time. Mini-sode. So moving on, Jason, you have this your second H beer from Highland Park. Tim, what do you have?
And in honor of our podcasting partner, Timbo
Bill.
Timbo
There you
Pills.
go.
West Coast style Pilsner with mosaic hops.
I've got Hopworks Urban Brewery Stoner Fruit Apricot Sour.
Abbreviated to Hub.
Yep,
Hopworks
there we
Urban
go.
Brewery.
I knew that sounded familiar. I did not put that together for some reason because their other cans used to say Hub on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn. Amateur hour.
What was that beer again?
It is Stoner Fruit Apricot Sour. So it is
Stoner
a
Fruit,
sour
bro.
ale brewed with apricots.
Apricots and beer. I don't know. I don't like apricots.
No, I like apricot and like sour stuff.
Yeah.
I just
has a
had
nice-
at Highland Park when I was out there picking up these beers. I just had their cold box cool ship with apricots, and oh my god, chef's fucking kiss. That beer was so good.
That's a great name for a beer. Cold Box Cool Ship.
Yeah.
That's a series they do, right? Cold
Yeah,
Box Cool
it's
Ship.
I believe it's their Goose style beer.
Right.
Is it Goose or Goose? I'm fucking psyching myself out. It's Goza. It's Goose.
It's either or. Gooza.
God.
Goose.
But either way, it's their Goose style beer, but because it's California, it never really gets that cool at night except for a couple weeks a year. So they take their cool ship and they put it inside their refrigerator, cold box cool ship, so it can cool off instead of leaving it outside overnight. So Tim, how's the beer?
It's pretty good. It let's see. Aroma wise, it's got a little bit of like sweet sour. You can tell you're gonna go into a sour ale just straight off the bat with some sort of fruit.
Does it make sense when I say you can smell acidity on the nose?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I feel like I say that a lot, and I don't know if people can relate to that. Because I can smell when, I don't know, I can smell acidity, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's like sticking your nose in like some really tart lemonade, maybe. Like you can kind of sense from the aroma what you're going to get into.
Right. And you kind of taste it too, because you're inhaling aromas, which is also flavor. So, yeah.
It's really nice. It's the tartness on first just made me like super pucker. It's mellowed out like after the initial attack on my taste buds.
Hitting like the back sides of your tongue, you're just like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, and if a sour doesn't do that, then it's just not worth the time, honestly, in my opinion. This is nice. The apricot, it kind of like an apricot in general, it's sweet, like it's mostly sweet. I think it's more sweet than anything else, and that sweetness is really it helps cut and mellow out the sour part of the sour ale, and it just makes it really mellow. There's still a nice amount of tartness because I like a tartness in my sour, but I'm like saliva everywhere.
I was looking at the verified locations for this beer from Hopworks Urban Brewery, and one of the verified locations is the Valero Beer Cave in Victorville, which Valero is a gas station, right? Like,
Yes.
and they have
Yeah.
a beer
Unless it's something
cave.
else.
Like,
Yeah.
I've never heard of the Valero Beer Cave in
Yeah,
Victorville.
but it's probably just like their beer section, and they call it the beer cave because I've seen that in other places. Like you get like a
Yeah,
themed corner of the store.
That's true. One of the Chevron stations down the street does have a cave, and it's a walk-in freezer, but it's all like Coors Light and Lagunitas, basically. So maybe that's what it is. Yeah.
We can dream.
They're a dead ass verified venue on Untapped. The Valero Beer Cave.
It says it's verified on Untapped.
Yeah, they're like a serious ass. Like the pictures of it, it just looks like it's the beer section of a gas station, but they're real serious about it. Good on them.
Yeah, that's pretty.
And they
fantastic.
have like, it's not just like regular, mass market craft. They have Crooked Stave, Wild Barrel,
Mason Ale Works,
Weldworks. What the fuck?
Brewery
It's a
West.
Valero.
Like they have good stuff.
Yeah.
If I ever have to buy, if you're in the high desert and you need to buy beer, I guess check out this Valero Beer Cave.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, got Dust Bowl, Aero Lodge, good stuff from California.
Yeah. Anyway,
so Timbo Pills is tasting fucking amazing right now. It is just the like perfect amount of like candy mosaic. Like they must get the best fucking mosaic hops in the world. It is just a light pilsner. It's not bitter at all. It just has a ton of hop aroma, ton of hop flavor, and it's just that perfect sweet mosaic. Like no funkiness, no oniony bits to it at all. Just mosaic exactly how you want it. Such a good fucking beer.
yeah, that beer, I brought this up on Fresh Off the Shelf as well. Like when I think of Highland Park Brewery, they have this really small outdoor dining area, but it's like the perfect setting to drink beer. Like it's just far enough away from the noise that's inside. Like especially when there's like a Dodger game on, like it's insane.
Wait,
inside that place.
Where are we talking about?
Highland Park Brewery in
Chinatown.
Chinatown. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't been to the Chinatown location. I've only been to the Hermosillo.
Oh, you need to
good
go.
at Chinatown. It's good.
I
Yeah, it's
would,
great.
but unfortunately, the majority of breweries in Los Angeles do not allow children right now, and it is pissing me off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, they don't right now for sure, but they will at some point. They did before, I think.
Yeah, they did. It's just yeah.
With
Anyway.
COVID rules, if you're trying to enforce any sort of masks and distancing, it's enough trying to herd fucking adults. Could you imagine with kids?
I hate being just I'm
A
gonna stop
father?
right there. No, yeah, that's the best thing to say right before Father's Day.
I'm joking.
No. I'll go off on a rant about moving on. Yeah, I want to go there. It looks really cool. I've stopped by to pick up beer, and the location looks rad. But I really like the Hermosillo as well, just because it's such a cool vibe in there.
So
The problem with the Hermosillo is parking and access. Like I guess, well, parking isn't that bad. You can park like 100 feet away at like that paid parking lot, but it's very much a bar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's dark and it's
Here's my things with Hermosillo. I like the spot, but all of their releases now are sold out of Chinatown. And the big reason I had to go to Hermosillo, the handcuff, was going to Donut Friend.
Oh,
And-
right, yeah.
And I put a blood feud on Donut Friend because they're actively anti-union. Their workers are trying to unionize, and they're being real shitheads about it. And I feel like when you charge $5 for a donut, you can afford to pay to let your fucking workers organize. So fuck you, Donut Friend. Get better, be better, and I'll go back.
I like Donut Friend. I like donuts. I enjoyed going there the 2 or 3 times I went there, but donuts are always such a God. They're the one like dessert food that I eat that I always regret like 10 minutes after I eat it.
Dude,
I just
no,
feel
get outta
like
here.
I feel like crap.
You're not
Like,
welcome here anymore.
Going back to when we get donuts after going to church with my parents, it's like, oh, I get to eat like 2 donuts, and then afterwards the whole day my mouth just tastes like
Here's what you do. Well,
sugary. Ugh.
we'll take a donut and we'll cut it in half, so we like both eat one half of the different donuts because they're good. You don't like because they're really rich. They're like it's like a cake.
Yeah, I think that's my thing. They're just very rich and
Yeah, they're delicious, but
Amateur hour. I'll down
I
2
know.
donuts, no problem.
Yvonne said the same thing. She's like, "You're fucking crazy. You're stupid." So,
Well,
All right, but make sure Yvonne stays away from Donut Friend.
I'm sure she won't be going to Highland Park anytime soon.
There's some other good donut shops in LA you can go to.
Hold on. How's the Timbo Solid?
It is so fucking good. It is like
Top
5
tier.
5 out of 5. Hard to think of a better beer. Good.
You know, I would definitely put Highland Park at like the top of my local top of my local breweries.
In LA County, I would say I can't think of a better brewery, but maybe even in the greater LA metro. Like LA Orange, LA OC, it's hard to beat Highland Park for consistency and range, and they just do everything well. I've never had a dud from them.
I'm sure Highland Park would fit in well in San Diego, but if they were in San Diego, like who would you, where would they sit as far as San Diego breweries go?
I feel really out of touch with San Diego beer scene because I haven't really been there. I've been around the city in a couple years, so I feel like I could say some shit and I'll be 5 years out of date. So
yeah, I'm probably the same way then because I've been focusing more on LA too. I've adopted LA as like my home for beer. You know what I mean? Because the IE is still such a mess, and not to shit on the 2 breweries that are making good beer in the IE, but like there's just so much good stuff coming out of LA, and I'd rather go to LA than San Diego.
With beer, LA feels more like an underdog compared to OC because the OC scene developed so much earlier and so much that 10 years ago there was tons of good beer in OC and nothing in LA at all.
Yeah.
And LA's gotten really good, but it still kind of feels like the upstart, which is weird because they're the biggest metro in the state. But like it was this weird beer desert where it'd be like, oh, if you're flying to LA, drive out to fucking Placentia and visit the brewery because that's the best spot in town.
For sure. That was definitely what it was when I got into the scene.
And nowadays it's like, oh no, what part of LA are you in? Because there's a bunch of great shit everywhere.
Even downtown, you can hit up 2 or 3 awesome breweries, if not more, like easily within walking distance of each other. So
it's grown, and it like I'm sure there are many that I haven't even heard of at this point. Like I haven't kept up as well, but it just even through the pandemic with things closing, I still feel like there was a handful that even opened up that were brand new, and it's kind of wild to see it continuing to grow.
Yeah. I think, like I said, I kind of adopted the LA County beer scene as my home beer scene, and the people that are in the LA beer scene, I think I can relate to more than the Orange County beer scene. If Greg were here, I don't know, because Greg is from Anaheim and that's his beat, and he definitely he's friends with all those people, but I'm not friendly with anybody from Orange County outside of like Green Cheek, or when Brad was at Noble, or maybe a couple other breweries. I'm just like, I'd rather, not that I'm dissing the Orange County beer scene. Like there's a lot of great breweries coming out of Orange County as well, but I just feel comfortable in the LA beer scene.
What about
that may sound
Radiant or like the brewery?
Definitely. Yeah. Well, Radiant, I feel like I have the most excitement towards for an OC brewery. Like I am super stoked that they are a thing because everyone that I know of that's working there are great people that I know. But again, it's just, I have more, I don't know, solidarity with LA County breweries, I guess.
I feel like a lot of love when I go to either, honestly. Like I feel like I see people I know and like and everything. I just feel like OC feels like the more established community. Like they don't need my bump as much, where like LA still feels like there's a lot of breweries that are more trying to find footing, and kind of like, even if they're making really quality product, I feel like and it's weird because it's fucking the biggest city in the state and one of the biggest in the country. And it's weird that the beer scene there took so long to develop. But I remember like when I worked downtown, it was like Craftsman, which was from Pasadena. They're still around. And then like Angel City, the old Angel City before Sam Adams bought him out.
That was Tim's spot right there.
We went there
and
quite a bit.
And it was just like these beers weren't that good. I remember when El Segundo first opened, and they took a little while to find their footing and became one of the best West Coast IPA producers in the world. But yeah, it took a while for the city to really catch on, and now it's becoming dope. Or not becoming, now it's really dope.
And I don't want it to sound like I'm, hating on OC Orange County Brewing, like, because you brought up Radiant, and I think you did that to kind of like, well, what about this one? And of course, like, I love Radiant, like, but
you said you don't have homies in these places. Like,
no. I didn't say I don't have homies. I just feel like I have. Okay. I think of Franny, like the director of the LA County Brewers Guild. Like, she's one of my favorite people in the world and in the beer scene. Yep. Like, and I can't say the same thing about the Orange County Brewers Guild. And I think LA County Brewers Guild is
shots fired. OC Brewers Guild.
Oh, stop it. I'm just saying, like, the people in LA, I just, I don't know. It's nonsense. Because again, yes, of course, there's plenty of.
Oh wait, Tim is today. Is it because you have a Dodgers hat now?
No, wait. Jason, it's not because I have a Dodgers hat.
If you want, like,
always a ball buster, you are, man.
I feel like it's the scenes are all a little different. Like, I feel like every one of the like areas is a bit different, and they all have things that stand out and things that don't. Like,
you're right. I think LA County does have a different vibe too.
Some of them do. Yeah, exactly. And my son likes to constantly ask, "What's your favorite this?" and "What's your favorite that?" And
that's Yvonne. Oh, I'm like, I have no favorites.
That's the thing. Is like, I feel real like lame, but I always struggle to answer these questions because, like, what's your favorite band? Well, what genre of music are we talking about? Because I have a favorite band in like every genre of music. So if you want to get into like what's your favorite?
Bad at favorites.
If you want to get into it, it's like, I feel like each like county or section of the state that has breweries has different standouts that I like from those places. So like, LA, you got like Highland Park, like Long Beach, Brewery West, OC, you got Radiant, and Chapman, I think, is also fantastic. I think every section has their own standouts. So I don't necessarily think I don't think you have to have like a this is me playing Switzerland.
Yeah, and I'm not picking favorites. I'm just saying I feel like I relate more to LA Brewery. It sounds so dumb saying this, but I shouldn't have brought it up. Like, again, I have much love for plenty of Orange County breweries. Like, obviously, like, there's many great breweries in Orange County, but I don't know. LA kind of feels more like home, I guess.
Before you take a deeper hole.
Yeah, let's stop there. Moving on, our last letter of the day is I. And for me, this was this was the most difficult letter to find a brewery, or not even a beer, like anything. Like, I is such a weird letter to use to begin something. Like,
you could have gotten ice from Modern Times and made Lemonade happy.
They didn't have ice. Like, they had Modern Times, but they didn't have ice. Like, I felt weird because I was in their cooler for like 20-30 minutes, and like someone's going, what is that guy doing in there? Because I was looking at every single beer, looking at the labels to make sure I didn't miss a name of a brewery.
It was hot out. It was okay.
Yeah. So what I ended up getting
where is it?
This is not my first pick, but it's Ice House. And technically, this is not a brewery name. It's from the Plank Road Brewery, I believe is their name. Yeah, the Plank Road Brewery out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But I think some breweries or some beers take on the name of the brewery. Like, if you were to put beers on a shelf in alphabetical order, would you put Budweiser in A or B? I guess, well, they're so close it wouldn't matter, but you'd put it in B. It's one of those things. So I saw Ice House. It started with an I. It's the best I could do. It's literally all I could find. So that's what I got.
I think it's fair to say, like, certain brands become certain beers develop a brand of their own outside of the brewery itself, to the point where you don't necessarily even know what the brewery's name is. So I think you're safe.
Yeah, what was a beer you had on the show that you like? Well, it starts with this letter, but technically it's from this brewery. I forgot what it was.
Oh yeah, I did do one. I can't remember.
I think it was
now.
the DEF show that I am going to release today or tomorrow. But yeah, the beer name just takes on the name of the establishment itself. And I think Ice House is like that. It's like, are you going to say, let's go to the Plank Road Brewery, guys? No, no one says that. It's
Go to
like
the Ice House,
if you
bro.
say, yeah, let's get an Ice House, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what that is. And this is kind of a throwback to when I had Bud Ice on the show. It's the same type of brewery. It also fits in well with the Genesee Ice, like the amplified version that's 5.5% instead of 4.5%. Like you get one more percent alcohol.
John is just low key doing his own cheap beer corner over here.
It just worked out that way. And like the branding for the 5.5 is it's just like so prominent. Like they're so proud that it's 5.5 and
it costs
it's ice brewed for bolder taste. Like it's
what's the cost on that?
I don't know.
$1.99.
I didn't look.
I feel like the cheaper tall boys advertise the ABV more prominently, so you're getting more bang for your buck.
Well, that's the whole shtick, right? You know, it's what's going to get me drunker quicker and cheaper. I mean, you're in a beer cave full of craft beer, like you can get like literally a 21% beer, and that will fuck you up. But you're probably not going to enjoy it as much as an Ice House if you don't drink craft beer. So.
Well, I got a beer that starts with I, and unlike that mainstream Ice House beer that John got, I got indie beer.
Woo!
From Los Angeles.
Wait, jealous. Okay, so hold on. I was looking at the show notes, and is this actually indie beer? Like, yes. Is that the name of the beer? Because I know it's coming from indie.
It's Indie Brewing Company's indie beer. It was a real pain in the ass to find on Untappd because the name of the beer is the name of their brewery. It is a blonde ale, and I had to go to the brewery in Untappd, list all of their beers, and then find this one by name because searching for it by name doesn't find anything because the beer is named what the brewery is named, which was a real headache. It's a blonde ale. I was at Total Wine and there's no dates, so I really felt like a blonde ale was not rolling the dice as much as the fucking IPA next to it. So,
yeah, Indie Brewing Company was one of the breweries that I bought beer from during the pandemic. I bought like a case of beer from them, and Tim also has an Indie Brewing Company beer. What do you have, Tim?
I got IPA Del Rey. I think this is one of their. This was like one of their early flagships. It is a 6.5 IPA. This was canned on 3/25, so pretty fresh. I went to Indie's tap room a couple times. I haven't been in a long time, but I've been there, and it was a really cool, solid place. I remember going there when back with Untappd, we had one of our guys from the East Coast come out here, and we ended up going in there and like. We're talking with the owner and like ended up hanging out, and he just like was giving us all the stuff, and it was super rad, like super cool people there. And I don't know if it's changed. I can't speak to it because I haven't been there a long time, but it was just such a rad little spot, and everything's always been solid. So this IPA Del Rey is it's a good standard go-to IPA. It's a little I have to try it again because there was a certain note that I feel like pops out more.
I enjoy their label artwork a lot too. Like it's very
minimal.
Yeah, but still kind of like artsy and
they have the hop. They have the hop, but with the LA skyline popping out of the top.
That's clever.
Yeah,
I mean, cool. It's kind of you can only see. You're not going to see it at all because of my washed out, but you can only see like half of it here.
Yeah.
But that was always cool, and they put it on like hats and stuff, and I always loved that logo.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Thanks, Jason.
So, you may think that being a blonde ale, it was safe from the Total Wine age machine. You'd be wrong.
How old is it?
I don't know, but it tastes really old. It's very oxidized. So I'm not even going to comment on it any further. I'm sure it tastes good when it's fresh, but
yeah.
I'm going to try to find some fresh indie and do them justice. And Tim, talk about yours because yours is probably fresh. Tim's like, oh, fuck.
He's like, didn't I just do that?
Yeah, wait, I just talked about it. No,
Ah.
it's I mean, I don't
My
know
bad.
I don't know if they're looking for a specific like, West Coast or anything like that, but it's like the hoppiness really bumps out. It's got
Yeah, they don't give too many details on Untapped. They just say it's has notes of nectarine and
yeah,
juicy fruit and tangerine. So
I can totally get
um,
that. Like it's not in your face. It's not like jumping out with this citrus sort of IPA that you would expect, like, or that you would get from it. Sorry, I mixed my words. It's not like super citrusy, like say, obviously like a New England or hazy. It's not super piney, like Pliny or something. It doesn't really have that kick of a West Coast. That's just purely hops.
how's the
Uh,
bitterness on it?
It's I'd say it's very mid range.
Yeah,
It's there. It's definitely, I feel it like on the back end. Let's see.
it
What's this?
definitely sounds like a flagship IPA.
Yeah,
That's
it's
you know,
65. It's 65 IBU, so it's fairly high, I'd say.
yeah, it's on the
Um,
higher end.
but it's solid. It's very drinkable. I had one of these last night because I had to get a 4-pack in my haste to fill my eye beers, and so I was like, oh, I haven't had this for a long time. I'm going to try it out, and I was just like, this is really solid. And I think
Cool.
Indy really produced a lot of. Again, it's been a while. I've had a lot of other stuff besides Indy, but back when I did have their stuff and would seek it out, it was all really solid. So
Yeah, I
and they were
agree.
fairly small too. So their distribution was pretty big. So at least in the LA area. So it's exciting to try it again.
Yeah, the reason I bought those beers, I think, is because remembering they had a tip jar for their employees. So I was actively seeking out breweries that were they had a section of their store where it's like, just give us money for
Yeah.
our employees, and they were one of the breweries I did that for. But the beers were great. I mean, I've never been there, but I would definitely go there in the future. Going back to my beer from Ice House, it's not bad. When I poured it into the glass, it had like a nice, healthy head on it that was really slow to dissipate, which for, a mass market, ice brewed beer, whatever that means, is kind of unusual. It comes off a little softer than I thought it would. Like I was expecting something more dry and a little more brash, more prickly on the tongue. And it's not like that. It's actually not a bad beer. And I'm sure it was cheap, like as far as the price goes. So for what it is, I mean, it's a 24-ounce can, and I may buy it again. It's not bad. I kind of dig it.
Whoa.
John's an Ice House man now.
I remember getting Ice House kegs in lieu of Bud Ice kegs when I was living with my roommate back in the day when we couldn't get Bud Ice. And it was a good substitute. So I still like it.
So sadly, Total Wine fucking really gooched me on 2 of these beers. But
do you have any kind of like smaller craft? Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to expand my options as much as I can because I got to find breweries that start with fucking I.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, obviously you aren't researching enough. Come on.
I swear to God, Tim, I'll set you on fire.
Cut you.
I feel like I find it very entertaining that I was worried and ended up like just breezing through.
You got the best beers.
You have access to actually like low key really good beer stores. So
there's at least 3 to 5 really solid craft beer sellers within, I'd say, 10 to 15 minutes of where I live right now.
Yeah, I feel like La Bodega would have been a better choice, but again, they don't do a lot of singles. And if they do, it's the shelf beers that are like stouts and stuff like that, which I'm not really looking for. Maybe, when it gets cooler and we're still doing alphabet beers, that will be an option. But
well, we still have a bunch of letters to get through, dude.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. We have plenty of time. So unless like we just completely run out of ideas and just have to power through the alphabet. But
we're at JKL next time. I mean, Jester King is a J.
They're a J and a K.
Yeah, holy shit. I mean, Kings, they're a K.
Oh, this is gonna be a tough one.
L, there's a lot of L breweries.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna check.
Lost Coast, lengthwise.
I'm gonna check.
What are
the,
K breweries?
Kings.
Kinetic, Kings,
Yeah,
Kinetic. Is Kinetic still a thing? No, that was where Alexandria came from. It was at Three Weavers. I don't think they're a thing anymore.
In Lancaster, I think they might still
Are
be
they?
around.
Okay. K. I'm looking at my refrigerator that's full of brewery stickers.
Okay, hold on. We're looking at what is it?
K beers.
Carl Strauss.
Carl, of course. Carl, they're the K brewery.
And we're doing
Fuck yeah, dude. California.
You said JKL?
Yeah.
Okay. Little Beast, Los Angeles Ale Works.
Ooh, LA Works, yes.
Hey, anything that has Los Angeles at the beginning. Yeah, JKL will be easy.
I don't know about the J. Chester King's like the only one that's coming up to me.
Well, anyways, here's 4 brewers thinking about the alphabet after drinking 4 beers.
Yeah, we're done recording, or we're done with it. But the show, I'm just like, yeah,
Did we have a decent outro at any point?
yeah, I have one. Yeah,
Oh, so we're done.
it was like three minutes ago. I found an outro, so
Oh.
All right.
yeah,
Okay, done.
you can stop recording. J breweries. I wish like on Untapped. Okay, so let's see. J. What if I just type in J? What happens? How does Punk IPA show up from Brewdog? There's literally no J's in there at all.
Don't even direct any questions to me.
Brewdog is the first brewery for J. Jacob Leinenkugel. No.
You could get a Leinenkugel.
Jackie O's, Jester King, Jack's Abbey, Jolly
Oh, yeah.
Pumpkin,
Okay.
J Wakefield,
Ooh, okay. Yeah, you're right. There's more than we could think of.
Jaws Brewery. They're in Russia. Wow. Jailbreak out of... Oh, it doesn't say they're in the U.S. Trader Joe's. Trader
I got a
Joe's is
Jester
brewed-
King beer right here. I'm like... Done.
Chew Your Beer in the YouTube chat says Highland Park would be in or around North Park or Pariah. I agree.
North Park was actually
That
the
would
first thing
be
that came to mind.
a perfect fit for Highland Park. Like,
Hey, I just heard some news that Pariah was opening a brewery on the East Coast, and an implication that they were moving.
I don't know if they're moving. Because they just spent a lot of money on like a canning line in their San Diego brewery. Like, I guess you could move that, but I'm assuming it's like just another location. I saw the same post, and it was just a post of a building, and then someone commented on the location, and Pariah responded like correct or like ding ding ding, something like that.
Oh fuck yeah! There's a Wikipedia that's a list of microbreweries,
Well,
but
hold on.
J is still pretty weak.
What? Sorry, what are we doing again?
Jackie O's, Jolly Pumpkin, Jester King. There you go.
So we just did. See, this is the problem. I can't do the alphabet. We just did GHI.
A B C D E F G H I
Okay,
J.
We're
K.
at JKL.
Okay, so K also has Kern River, King Harbor, Knee Deep.
K will be easy. Yeah.
Let's see. L. Oh, that's easy. Lagunitas, left hand. Little Beast.
Lakefront.
LA Ale Works.
Lost
Lost
Coast.
Abbey.
Yeah. L
Lost
will be
Abbey.
easy.
All right. Well, on that note, dudes.
Yeah, I got a guy here working on stuff. I should probably go check and see what's going on.
Probably
Don't
stole all
worry.
your shit by now.
Don't
Fuck.
forget to upload your audio and
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like,
Chew Your
Like
Beer
and
also
subscribe.
is saying that El Segundo is LA's version of Pizza Port.
They got to get more pizzerias before they become that.
Well, beer wise, I don't know if I agree with that.
Pizza Port has a wider range of beer than El Segundo. I love the Gundo and I love Pizza Port, but Gundo's mostly a one-trick pony. They pretty much do West Coast IPA, and they do it fucking better than most anybody. But Pizza Port does everything great. You go to a Pizza Port location, you'll get like 20 beer styles, and they'll all be dope.
Yeah. Exactly.
And they have really good pizza. I've had Slice and Pint pepperoni. It was good.
Slice and Pint sent us a message on Facebook Messenger once, and they wanted an email address. They're like, "Can we have your email address so we can share some pizza with you?" And I had no idea they were opening a pizzeria.
Oh god!
And I laughed, and I'm like, "What?" And
You
they're like, "Oh,
jackass.
we're doing a soft open for the Slice and Pint." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," like, because I thought it was a joke, and I never heard back from him. So I'm like, "Oh, I think I made him mad."
Oh,
Yeah,
shame.
You fucked up, dude. All right, guys, I got to bounce, but thanks for the show, and I will see you with hopefully an alphabet again next week. Actually, next week we're doing the other guys.
Next week is Working Draft,
Draft.
from
Okay, cool.
Josh Ruffin. So
Awesome.
all right,
Take it easy.
see you guys later.
Bye, everyone.